Hey, Thomas Mayhew, eXp Realty Ohio. Hope you're doing great today. So, forbearance is the question on a lot of people's minds right now. A lot of my clients, consumers, and so on, we're getting into that discussion quite often these days, and especially since July 31st marks the end of forbearance as we know it, and people are wondering, is that going to result in a wave of foreclosures? Now, KCM has done a great job, I think, in answering that question. Now, it doesn't mean that they, are 100%, they're right, or that anybody else is right, because who really knows for sure what's coming down the pike, right? So some of us are always watching for what's the next shoe to drop. But in general, real estate is a good investment, right? The only thing, the risks are whether the government starts taxing it too much, or they change property laws, or do something super crazy like that. That may seem very unlikely, and hopefully it is. Of course, there's a lot of crazy talk and crazy things going on these days. But it is a little bit scary to consider this whole forbearance thing if you're, if you own real estate or you think about buying real estate. But I'm not super worried about it. I mean, I'm concerned about a lot of things, okay, but I'm not super concerned about that, but here's why. So originally there were a large number of homes that were going to go into forbearance or foreclosure, but they have, managed to get back on their feet in essence, and they've got options. Because property values have gone up so much, they've got equity. So even many of the folks that, don't really have a solution, quote unquote, actually they have equity. So they don't need a great solution. They can just hire a realtor and get it sold. Now, it's funny because a lot of people think, oh, well, if you hire a realtor, you gotta have, equity to do that. Well, the reality is that people that don't hire a realtor end up selling for far less than they could have sold if they had hired a realtor. And that has a lot to do with the cycle of trust. There used to be a, caveat emptor, right? And there, before there were realtors and a National Association of Realtors and so on, there were shysters selling property. And so, a regular consumer going to buy a property from a person selling a piece of property, oftentimes got the short end of the stick. So then came in, the realtors and so on and so forth. And that started to be a big protection. So if you don't have trust and you're going to buy from somebody, you're not going to pay top dollar. In fact, the people that will go and deal with a for sale by owner, for example, are the very people that are like hardcore investors that are going to negotiate the shirt off your back. Okay, they're going to skin the cat. They're going to get an incredible deal. And the realtor situation and getting all that exposure on the market at the same time prevents that from happening. And so that's why you want to hire a realtor. You will sell your house and you'll net more, put more in your pocket by selling with even an average realtor. Okay, don't go below average, but I'm just saying. So let's cut to the chase. About 3.5% of homes are in forbearance. That translates into about 1.86 million mortgages. Now that is a big number, but it's way, 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 way less than what we were looking at before. But like I said, some people have equity and so they're fine even if they have to sell. But there are definitely some folks that are still in trouble, and I definitely feel for them. I'm sure you do too. We don't want that, but this time around, the banks are trying to do what they can to avoid a housing crisis. I can tell you some details. I know that's too much for this video, but I just wanted to real quick say that there's about 250,000 at the end of the day that might be going to foreclosure. And with the market as tight as it is, we can absorb that. That's not a problem. Like, we need that inventory in a way. Like, I feel bad for the people that will be, losing a house, but the market is so tight, we need that inventory, and we'll absorb it very fast right now. Now, if something changes, like let's say, for example, the coronavirus thing, if we start having a lot of people pass away over the fall and winter, and I don't mean to be morbid, but if that happens, well, there may be, especially if it's older people, we may have some properties for sale because they go through a will or probate, what have you, and they come on the market. That could happen by next spring. So, but even that probably is not going to, well, it depends on the numbers, so I'm hoping and praying for the best. Okay. So that's really all I have to tell you. That's it. And if there's anything I can do for you, I'm here. Okay. Take good care. Bye-bye.